welcome back to my channel. It's me, Jada. I am a student physical therapist. For those who do not know or who are new, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, please. Just Jada. Remember that name. Anyway, okay, so here's part 2 to the video I recorded the other day. So I have good news and I have bad news. Bad news, my patient was a no-show. So unfortunately, I did not treat by myself on Wednesday, which is so sad, tear. But good news, I learned a lot. I learned so much from 7:45 a.m. to 11. I learned a lot. So with what I learned, I wrote down some notes so that I can give you some tips. I think that if I had these tips, I would have been a little more calm Tuesday night, Wednesday morning going into the session. I mean, I'm a very nervous person, so being calm is not natural for me. Like, I don't really know how to chill. My nerves are just always like, you know? That's how my nerves always are. So if I'm calm, there's something wrong. But I think that if I had these few tips, you know, I would have been a little bit more calm. I would have been like, or maybe not calm, a little bit more confident, okay? So I wrote down 8 things, and they're not in any particular order. I just, as they popped into my head, I wrote them down, okay? So, number 1, prepare, go over notes. Most times in a clinic or anywhere, you will have some information going in, at least the night before, because whoever takes the appointment will ask the patient, you know, so what are you coming in for? Or if you get a referral, it'll say like treat, you know, whatever the area is, and then you go from there. But for some reason, we didn't have the information. So Tuesday night, only thing we got was a screenshot of the body part that we were treating. So the patient who did show up was an 8 a.m. knee. That's all we got, 8 a.m. knee. So for that, I actually went back and went over my knee notes, and I didn't go through them like every single detail. I just went through big pictures. Like I went through measurements, range of motion. I also went through the adjacent joints. So for the knee, I went through the ankle and the hip, because when you're doing a physical examination, you have to clear the joints to make sure that the pain is isolated. So if you're doing the back, you know, of course, also go over your notes for the shoulder, the hip, pelvic girdle, stuff like that. Don't stress yourself out by going over every single detail, but like I said, go over big picture ideas. Number 2, breathe, chill. It's gonna be okay, all right? I know that my video was full of nerves and full of hypeness, but to my friends, after I posted the video, my friends reminded me to breathe. So right before the session, even before I even logged on to telehealth, I took 4 deep breaths. And that really did help calm me. You know, it was very early in the morning, but I was really on go. Like I was ready to go. So breathing does help, okay? I mean, it is that deep, but it's also not that deep. You know, like the licensed physical therapist is there to help you. They're not gonna leave you hanging in most times, but they're there to help you. So if you need help, they're there. They'll step in if need be. Also with us, there were 4 of us actually, I'm sorry. And so even though one person took the lead and was treating, if that person were to get stuck, we could have jumped in. Now, my classmate is bomb, okay? He did not need any help. However, he did give us a chance to jump in and say things or ask questions, you know, to the patient to get a better understanding of what's going on with them. So shout out to my classmate. I don't know if you want me to say your name, but shout out to you. You know who you are, okay? Number 3, and this is what I did a lot on Wednesday. Pick the brain of the licensed physical therapist while they are there, okay? So if you have time or gaps in between appointments, pick their brain, ask them questions. Like go over the patient that you just had, go over some stuff, you know? Maybe you knew what you were talking about, but you still had questions. And of course you didn't want to ask in front of the patient. So go back to the PT and ask them some stuff. If you were to have a patient come in with, let's say, the wrist, because I'm not good with the wrist stuff, that anatomy stuff just went right over my head. So if I had time and space between appointments, I would probably ask a PT, you know, hey, what if a patient comes in with the wrist? Like, what should I do? What should I start with? You know, ask some questions, because I mean, they know what they're talking about. They're there, they have that job. They have the job that you want. So if you want to get on their level, you have to know what they know. Okay, number 4, prepare a space for movement. Since this is telehealth, and I mean, I did the appointment in my room, I had to create a space, because if I have to demonstrate a squat, demonstrate some of the ranges of motions I want them to do, or even demonstrate an exercise, I have to have the space to do so. So if you're not in your room, you're in somewhere else, make sure you have the space. And if you don't have the space, maybe you can ask the PT that's on the line if they have the space, because you can ask them, hey, like when I bring up these exercises, can you demonstrate them? Because unfortunately, I don't have the space to do so. Number 5, dress appropriately, okay? Like my director said, you don't want professional on the top, party at the bottom. Like I said before, you might have to demonstrate some things. So if you have to stand up and you don't have on appropriate bottom wear, that's going to be problematic, like very problematic and unprofessional. So just have on, I mean, you don't have to wear your khakis, but have on something appropriate. I would say lab attire on the bottom. On the top, have on something that says your program's name, and even more specifically, it says PT or SPT on it. I wore my 3/4 zip, and it had my program's name and physical therapy on it, because that is like the wear in a clinic, and you can't go wrong with it, honestly. So just have that at the top. On the bottom, make sure you are wearing something appropriate that you would wear out the house and even to school. Let me rephrase that, because people wear pajamas to school. Wear something that if your professors or if a potential boss saw you, you would be like, I'm not embarrassed. Check out my pants. Okay? Number 6, take a great history. I've been told that so many times in PT school so far, and I know it's important, you know, to do a very good and thorough patient history, but I think on Wednesday I really understood why they say that. Now with telehealth, talking, communicating with the patient, understanding through words is extremely important. You can't use your hands. PTs, we use our hands a lot, but you can't do that. So if you take a very thorough and excellent patient history, you can find out so much stuff without touching, without taking any measurements. You can find out almost everything you need to know, almost everything. Okay, so if you want to make, I don't want to say a list, but jot down some things that you know you want to cover in that patient history. Okay, some patients will be shy, and if you ask them a question, do you take any medicine? Yes. Okay, can you tell me, like, some patients are shy and won't just voluntarily give out information, while some patients, on the other hand, will overshare. So you have to ask questions that are open-ended. You can ask some closed-ended questions, but make sure you ask open-ended questions. Make sure you ask about pain, about how the pain feels, achy, numbness, tingling, stuff like that. Okay, I actually might make another video for just patient history, because it is very important. So right now, just keep it brief. Take a very good patient history, okay? Especially if it's an initial evaluation. Most of your time should be spent on patient history. Number 7, validate your patient. If they say their knee hurts because of their broken femur, but their femur is not broken, say, okay, I'm sure that's very painful for you. All right? Even if they say something that is just like, what? No, that's not even the right body part. Say, validate it. Okay? Because patients want to be listened to. Just like when you go to the doctors or you go somewhere and you tell them something that's bothering you and they're like, they just kind of brush it off. You don't like that. So your patient doesn't like it either. All right? So if they say something bothers them, if they say they think it's because of this, if they say, I feel like there's just a sharp pain, and they go on and on about sharpness, but then they also say it's achy, and they say, sometimes I have numbness, sometimes I don't. Listen and say things like, I'm sure that's very painful for you. I'm very sorry to hear that. Oh, you think it's this? Okay, write it down, okay? And then at the end, do some patient education so that they're not saying things that are inaccurate about their body, but never say, no, that's wrong, or no, you don't sound right. No, keep that to yourself, okay? Number 8, educate and explain. All right? I'm sure you're gonna learn this in PT school as well. I've learned this a lot, but again, on Wednesday, I saw why it's so important, all right? My classmate, who I shouted out, I'm gonna just say Tim, okay? Everything that he did, everything he told the patient to do, he explained why he wanted them to do it and why it was beneficial for them to get better. And I thought that was brilliant, immaculate. It was amazing, okay? If he told her to squat, he said it's because of this. If he asked her to do this, that, and the third exercises, for their home exercise program, he told her why, all right? They want to know why. They want to know, why am I doing this? They don't know that one thing affects the other, okay? So if you give them, if their knee hurts and they say it's tightness, and you give them something for their thigh to loosen up their thigh muscles, they're going to think, why? But it's my knee. Why do I need to loosen up my thigh muscles? All right? They don't know the anatomy that we know, that everything is connected. Okay? So if you give them something, tell them why. They may not ask why. They might not even care, but at least you told them. Okay? And then, of course, at the end of the session, do some more patient education, but in a nice way, and explain some more stuff. All right? So those are the 8 tips that I have for you. Hopefully they help. I don't have much else because, like I said, I didn't treat on my own. I think next Wednesday I will. We'll see. I don't know, but I hope this helps. Have a great weekend. Bye.